The real deep down you is the whole universe. And it's doing your living organism and all its behavior. It's expressing it as a singer sings a song.
Guess we can. Let me know. Good morning.
Good morning, all. My name is James Lee, and I'm one half of the Olympian Table. With my co-host, Stephen Williams, who is our resident Olympian. Not here with us as of yet. He may pop in, he may not pop in as of yet, but we got to keep the show rolling, got to keep it moving for the people, because of course you're expecting us to be here every Wednesday as we start this podcast, 10 o'clock, as we cover anything under the sun. We talk about real estate, we talk about investing, we talk about current events, sports, all kinds of things. Things that you may not even find quite interesting on any other platform, but we talk about it, give our perspectives. And in many cases, Stephen and I don't agree, which brings the fun to the table. That's what we do. We enjoy it. He's a good friend of mine, has been for a while. So we enjoy agreeing to disagree when it comes to some of these topics. So I'm here to talk to you about what's going on today here in the world and list of items that we'll kind of cover. I'll give my perspective. Feel free to share, like, and subscribe to this podcast. We're trying to grow this platform more and more. And if you have any questions, please don't be afraid to put them over in the chat box so we can answer them directly, right? I got my buddy Everett over on the ones and twos working the sound over there for me. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing just great. All right.
Awesome, man. I appreciate you joining me here in this endeavor as we work through this list of things that are just so pressing that people are waiting to hear kind of my perspective, right? So as you press on, man, we'll just kind of start talking about something that's probably on the minds of many people. The rents. We talked about the rent and the price of rent going up, and of course, what people deal with when trying to buy a home. We know that interest rates had kind of gotten to a point to where they're creeping up, but rents are also going up. But here is one benefit for those of you that have been renting. You have an option now to use your rental payments on your credit report. That's a new thing that's been pushed out to the masses. I would say it's not brand new to the availability, but it's new to being pushed out to the masses because it's not always been available.
This is going to be a blanketed option for many of those that are paying rent to have their rent payment now factored into their credit. Now, some may say, what's the big deal? It doesn't matter. But I think that's a huge thing because you got many people that may or may not have any credit at all. And the last few years, many folks that are renting have kind of gotten on the ladder to try to jump out to try to buy a home instead of paying rent. Because rent, although it is not a waste of money, I don't like to say that, it is not the best use of the money when it comes to your housing, because you can actually buy your own thing and kind of be in a situation to where you can make a better investment of your dollars. But this will allow for you to have this rental payment report to the credit bureau. Now, there's different platforms you can use. If you can look on the screen, you see a couple of different ones: Rent Reporters, Rental Karma, that's a KHARMA, that can be used. Level Credit, Rock the Score, Credit My Rent. Those are a couple of different platforms that will allow you to start reporting that rental payment so that you can, in fact, be in a position to where you can pay rent. But here he is. What's going on, sir?
All right.
You can actually report that rent to the credit report. And I think that's important. It's important to do that. It's important to get credit for what you're paying monthly. And if you think about the being in a lease for, let's just say, typically a lease will last for at least a year. But some folks are in their apartments or some homes for 2, 3 years. And while some apartment complexes may allow for you to report to the rent, if you're renting a house, that's not necessarily the case. But in this, you can actually report that rent, be it 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, or however long it's been, so it can show up as a trade line for you on your credit report. And I think that can be huge for people that may not even have a lot of credit.
It just allows for that to be factored into your credit score and kind of give you some things. I can't tell you how many people I get. They just don't know the importance of credit, and they don't have anything other than student loans. Most people have that. And then you might have some auto loans. But the beauty in being able to have rental there is it gives you a different mix. Because if you have all just installment or all just revolving debt, it doesn't give you a good credit mix. You need to have a good mix in order for that to be something that can be beneficial for you. So yeah, that is key. Pay attention to this type of things. These links here, that's on the page. You can actually go to try to sign up and enroll to allow for your rent to be counted, and it'll report to TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. I think that's great for anyone that's looking to build credit. So, yeah, that's where we are with our first topic on the list. There, Olympian has joined us here at the table. Stephen, we're glad to have you here this morning, sir.
My apologies to everybody for this.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good. I'm gonna bring your mic in so we can hear you good. I'll only cover just the one deal here with the rent there being
I want to ask you
reported.
one question.
Yeah.
Regarding credit, do you honestly think that student debt is worth it?
Is it worth getting it, or is it worth reporting it?
I'd like to know what people think about that. Whether people think it's honestly worth these days getting student debt with the amount of debt that it is, the amount of time that you have to pay it off. I know that facts, turn around and say statistics, not facts, but statistics. I guess they're facts.
Right.
They turn around and they say, "Oh, well, people earn X amount of money and that and the other." But you look at all the top people with businesses, which is very few. I think there's one that's a very, very astute person, which is Elon Musk.
Mm-hmm.
Which, Elon Musk, engineer, $1 billion company. But you speak to so many people these days, that my goal is like to put him on, when we're in a position where we're in a better position, to increase his wages. But not many employers are like that.
Oh yeah, no, not at all.
Not at all. And I think there's too much. Well, and of course, we're going down a rabbit trail a bit here. But to answer your question, for me, hey, there you are, right? The student debt, man, it's a racket. It is. School costs too much for what you get out of it. There's no guarantee for anything, and all these people racking up this debt. And quite frankly, you and I both have talked about this and agreed before. It doesn't going to college doesn't guarantee you anything.
She's going through college
To do what?
What's
her major?
I don't really get involved.
And that's Father of the Year right there.
Right.
That's between her and her mom, because it's so much more complicated over here going to college.
Right.
When I went to college, it was a free cost you.
Right.
It'd be accommodation or something. And I was the college dropout. But I went to college. I wanted to do it. I dropped out of college because I wanted to do Olympics.
Well,
It was a good enough reason to drop out. At the time, in hindsight, would I have done it? Not if I'm leaving college with a $400,000 debt like some of these poor days.
Oh yeah.
Oy.
It's expensive.
I was speaking to a doctor about 3 years ago, urologist. He was 37 years old. never worked in his life. He's always gone to med school, went to med school, went to hospital. He's got all these, the medical, educational. The poor guy's nearly $500,000.
Right. Yeah. That's that is again a point that we've argued before, and it's one of those things where it's always going to be six one way, half a dozen the other.
Should we be putting more money into people to start businesses?
Oh, why? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely do that.
Because the middle class is going away.
That's
proven,
a better option
it's
for
proven
sure.
The last 25 years, the middle class is going away. The small businesses. I think it's come back a little bit with. Now, I'll be honest. I think COVID's helped sort of bring it back because people are bringing it back to home.
Well, it was, but with this inflation, if that continues to grow, I mean, we'll be right back into it.
Gas could grow to what, $7 a gallon?
Yeah, could be, and that's actually a point on our list. So, yeah. So to your point, student debt, is it necessary?
It'd be interesting to know what some of the people think.
Yeah.
I mean, some of these people that have got the bills,
Right.
that are physically.
Are they the ones that are dealing with that? Absolutely.
Because what are some of the rules for student debt? Can't be forgiven. Has to be paid off.
Oh, well, I mean, there's some positions where you can actually get it forgiven depending on where you work.
Or in the worst case is when you actually die is when it can actually be forgiven.
Oh, yeah, it'll be forgiven.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's so much. Yeah, it's so much freaking money. It's it's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. So
At the end, I want to talk about something that sort of has come about. I'm having my twitches with my epilepsy, and that's why I haven't been here for the last few weeks. And then with all of that, my provider, as you call them over here, Blue Cross Blue Shield, I'll give them a plug, decides that they don't want to work with Memorial Healthcare. So all this is going on. I need medical help, and they're saying, "No, you've got to get into I don't know what do you call them over here? That's why it's so complicated over here. You've got to get into another medical system, whatever you want to call them." Yeah. And then the people that I was recommended, there was a 9-month waiting list
to get on.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Every time I have one of these twitches, I don't take my medication, if that's the reason for having one of the twitches, and I can't drive for 3 months. It really screws up my.
Oh yeah, I can imagine that. I can definitely imagine that. But it's a necessary evil because the cost of healthcare is so expensive. You got to have something. But when you have disagreements between,
for what reason do you put that? But apparently, what it was, it was. This is what I've heard. That the medical system, all right, didn't want to serve a particular insurance company because the insurance company was making more money.
Yeah, that's it. That's what we talked about. That's exactly what it is.
Than what the patient was. Well, why are they there? Are they there to serve the patient, or are they there to serve the stockholder?
Well, that's the moral.
We know they're there to serve.
That's the moral stance that the hospital system takes, because it's like, why are you charging more money to a patient versus just covering whatever it is? So no, that's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened. So healthcare is one of those things where you got to have it in case you get sick, you need it. But man, if you don't need it, you're not using it, it could be a pain in the buttocks. A definite pain in the buttocks. So, I don't know if you're aware, but travel is
open. airplane travel is
It's funny
definitely
you say
open.
that. Pulled up this morning and I'm
Uh-huh.
thinking to myself, how nice it is.
Yeah, travel is open. Well, you know the mask mandate was technically supposed to be over on the 18th, which is Friday, 2 days from now. But they extended it for a month to give people time to kind of set up protocols with that. That's neither here nor there.
Who's there to set up the protocols? Businesses?
Businesses, a lot of these companies that were mandating it, school districts and federal offices and all that kind of stuff. So they've kind of given another
What's
month.
your feeling on it?
Man,
You've got a client coming up your office upstairs here on the 3rd floor at 6060 Richmond Avenue.
right.
Suite 350 is there anytime you want to get your loan done.
There you go.
Right.
Nice
so
plug.
he comes up. You've never met this guy before. You don't know him from Adam. You don't know if his wife's Eve. You ask the guy to put a mask on.
Personally, no. I don't. Here's why though. I've never been a touchy-feely kind of I've never been that. I don't let people get into my personal space.
Do I need to move 2 foot over and say, I'm glad to have
I've just never been that. I wash my hands when I go to the restroom. I don't touch a lot of stuff. It's not foreign to me
Doesn't that really piss
to
you
keep
off? Go to
that.
the restroom and somebody's in. They do their man thing and they don't wash their
Yeah, it does.
really upsets
It's
me.
like, what is this, kindergarten? It's like, come on. Yeah, but that's always been a part of my life, so it's not foreign to me to do that. So to have someone come in because I don't know them because they have a mask. Now, if they come in and they're hawking and coughing and sneezing and you're like, hey, hold on, buddy, you okay? But I just don't let people get into my personal space. That's me personally. But I probably wouldn't. I didn't do it beforehand, so I don't know why I would now. But nevertheless,
Can I jump this list a minute?
well, let me jump in on this because this is not long. I'm just letting people know that travel is open. The cruise lines are open. If you have not looked at the cruise line
Do you
stock,
want a cruise line now?
huh? Probably not. No, they got too many buffets there. But what I'm saying is the stock is down. You know it's going to come back. So get you some cruise line stock. Norwegian. What's the other one? Royal Caribbean, Carnival. All of them get
I
in
bought
there.
myself some Carnival, but then it tanked. It didn't drop.
Well, it's
It
tanking
tanked.
right now. Norwegian is actually tanked, but I'm bringing this up to say it's been down like 21% over the last month or so. Get in it, buy in the dip, and watch it. Just stack it away. Carry on. What you got?
We're
What you
saying,
got?
well, we're saying about inflation, and then on the list here.
It's on the list. It's on the
I know
list.
the oil drops again. Why do you think that is? If we're going to get inflation, don't you think oil's going to be the first thing to go up?
Well, oil was gone. Oil was at
I know, but the
$130.
last what 3 or 4 days, it's gone down, isn't it?
Well, Tuesday, yesterday, it dropped down. It was actually up. It was about $130 a barrel, and
Which
right
is the
now,
highest it's ever been.
right now, that's what it's been. Well, it's been higher, but it's out in a long time. The price today, as a matter of fact, as we sit right now, oil is at $96 a barrel. So it had a drastic decrease over the past. That's the West Texas crude. It dropped.
But the reason I put this on the list is when it got to 130, of course, it's been gradually kind of going up. And we've seen increases in gas prices almost instantly. Almost instantly, they go up. You go to the pump, boom, it's up another 20, 30 cents. When it takes the big dips like this, it never reverses as fast as it goes up. And it's like, where's the money going? Who's getting their pockets lined with all this money from these gas prices, which is not cool. It goes up. No one gets a raise. You just say, today, Steve, to fill up your car, it's going to cost you
Norwegian
$80.
Cruise line, as we speak, is $18.94.
Yeah, it's down. Yeah, it's down.
Carnival.
It was lower than that. And the oil was 96. It's up about almost $1 today.
Carnival Cruise Lines is 90 cents as well.
Let's see what Royal Caribbean is.
Which is the best bet, you reckon?
Royal Caribbean is probably the highest, if I had to guess.
Which do you think is the best bet to go? Yeah, Royal Caribbean. Royal Caribbean has got.
Oh, they're at $73, $73. I say.
Why would you say Royal Caribbean's high?
It's
Because of the weather?
No, it's a nice cruise line. Now the
You know
despair,
Royal
they're
Caribbean?
probably
It's a nice
they're probably on the same.
I haven't been.
They're on the same line, I think. If I had to compare the two, the
My
top
wife don't
two,
like
cruises?
cruise lines, and I'd look. Well,
Norwegian and Royal Caribbean are probably on the same
I
level.
on a cruise line with my kids. That's like going to prison.
I disagree.
It is. That's like,
How old were they?
all they wanted to do was stay in the cabin and for me to play for game.
Are you kidding?
Oh, they were little then.
Yeah, they must have been 9, 13.
Okay,
Oh shoot.
that makes more sense now because when I went on that cruise, I was like 13. I was out there trying to. Well, I was 13. I was trying to score with someone.
Well, check this out.
My wife decided to go to China. All right, just in sheer spite and being angry, I thought, I'm going on a cruise. I wasn't going on a cruise. He doesn't like. I'm going on a cruise with the kids. It was like going to prison.
Oh yeah, you did that by
It was
yourself.
like going to prison for 5 days.
Now,
You try playing bingo with a 9 and a 13-year-old.
was it Carnival?
What's Carnival?
I don't know if Carnival has it, but when we did the Disney cruise, my kids were younger than that, and they gave you a little pager, and they took the kids. If anything happened, they just paid you and let you know where the kids are.
My idea was to get.
Yeah, right. Oh, some one-on-one daddy time, huh? I guess. You see how that worked out? You're calling it a prison sentence at this point.
So Royal Caribbean at the moment is the highest. No, it isn't. 52-week high is $98.
Yeah. For the year, yeah. It was higher. But they're down right now. Even Royal Caribbean is down from where it was. But travel will open back up, people. So don't miss out. Don't miss out on buying in the dip, as they say, because it is important to take advantage of this. Even with the Bitcoin stuff, it's down, but it is what it is. So
How long do you think it'll take for Bitcoin to come?
and I don't know. I guess we're going to see today. The Feds are wrapping up their meeting today, so we'll find out how much they're going to increase interest rates later on today. They're expected to raise them.
How long have we been?
Well, they already mentioned that they were going to go up, though. They really need to have them go up a little bit to try to stop this inflation. Otherwise, I mean, shoot, man, what are we going to do? It's just going to keep on growing and growing and growing. Kind of like my waistline. We need to figure out something to kind of slow it down, but you can't do it too much because you don't want to tank the economy. But they're probably going to increase them today about a quarter would be my guess. So we'll see what old Rummy Rome and his boys are going to do over there to slow the pace.
Do you want me to admit one of the reasons why I was like,
Yeah, tell me why.
I was watching Linsky.
What, again, press conference?
Yeah.
Well,
He was actually.
how was his demeanor?
You being if you'd bombing the crap out of you. I mean, honestly.
And
I honestly, I like to say how I would behave, but I don't know. I honestly don't know how I would
I
behave.
think he's a class act.
So far from what I've seen, I would agree.
I think he's a class act. I know he was a comedian. Apparently that's what he was. A comedian. But I really think that guy stepped up to the plate. I really think that guy has stepped up to the plate to such a point. I think he's unbelievable.
Was he asking for help from us?
He either wanted one of two things. He either wanted.
Bring your mic in. Make sure you work.
He either wanted a no-fly zone, which is not going to happen. All right. And I've got my views on that no-fly zone. Okay. Or he wants the countries of the world to supply him with arms so they can defend themselves. I personally, quite honestly, I think what I'm going to say is going to sound strange, right? I've been to Russia.
Mm.
The Russian people are wonderful people. It's an incredible country. They got incredible culture. All right, they have the most incredible culture. I'm talking about the people on the street now. I'm not talking about the politicians.
Right. The people.
The real people of
Right.
the country. All right, they are fabulous people. But I want to live there. No. Have they got a great national anthem? They have. They've got a wonderful national anthem. There's something about that national anthem that really, really, brings it to the game. Okay? I've listened to it enough times. But quite honestly, I think Putin's nothing but, the modern day Hitler. And regardless who the person is that's there, all right, I think the world has got to stand up to him in such a way. China's playing
The middle.
the middleman. Yeah. All right. Obviously, we don't, and it's like they can kick it in from one side, but we can't do anything. No. And then the other side is poor old Ukraine, and they are all poor old Ukraine. They've got such a situation where they're not a member of NATO.
Right.
And then you've got some people, some historians that are coming in and saying that we shouldn't be getting involved because they're not a member of NATO. And you've got some people turning around and saying, well, the West have caused the problem because when Russia split up, everybody thought that was the end of Russia. That was just the start of the new Russia.
Right.
So that demise at the time was the start of the new problem. So it's so difficult to really know what to do. I've never been to Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen photos of Ukraine, and when I think it looks beautiful, especially Kiev.
Right.
Such a beautiful in there. Because you've travelled a lot.
Yeah, I haven't been to Kiev.
And I don't know if I want to go there, at the moment.
No, for sure.
Because there's two things I used to like to go see: the architecture,
Right.
and the museums. Them were the two things that really, but quite honestly, do I feel sorry for that country? Absolutely. And you got people from all over the world fighting on both sides,
Right.
which is just, unbelievable.
Yeah, so I figured it'd be sooner or later that it'd come a time to where he'll be reaching out for help of some sort. But that's one of the benefits of being in NATO. If you decide you don't want to do it, it's kind of like, hey man, that was your choice. You didn't want to be a part of it. So be it. But I think all of this kind of came because I think they were leaning towards joining NATO, and that's what Putin didn't want. But
What do you think Europe should do? I'm not talking about America. I'm not talking about. What was interesting about what Zelensky said this morning was what he was really coming to. Everybody says, "Oh, the most powerful country in the world," and if you think about it, he's got a point. The most powerful country in the world. Stand up for democracy. I do think that I don't think it's America's job to stand up to be the police of the world.
Well, it isn't.
All right. We're supposed to be the strongest, most powerful country in the world. But when it comes to it, are we really?
Here's why we aren't. We're in bed with so many people. So if I make you a promise, an agreement, and then you start to act up and say you did me a favor, I can't really come at you the way I really could because you did me this, you scratched my back that one time. So in front of everyone, I could make it seem, pound my chest like I'm going, oh yeah, I'm going to go get Steve. But I have to remember, you know what? Steve looked out for me, 10 years ago. So I can't really bring the whole hammer down on him because he helped me out when I needed help, when I needed this. So that's what it is with us. We're in bed with so many people, man. It's just, it's ridiculous. And quite frankly, love him or leave him, the deal with Trump, he wasn't, you couldn't buy him. He wasn't to be bought. And a lot of people didn't know what he might do. What type of idiocy.
I didn't know what he'd do. I didn't know what idiocy.
It's like, man, what might this knucklehead do? So it's kind of like you just cheat. You don't work. You don't press your luck with it. Putin was kind of, it's like, I'm not going to take the chances with it. But Biden's been in office. He's been in a government for years. Everyone kind of knows his policy and what he's with. And then you got a brand new rookie senator or congressman, whatever she was, that's elevated to vice president. She don't really have any history with it. So, we know they're not about anything. So we're going to go ahead and press our luck with it. But my prayer is that everything kind of settles for the Ukrainian people. Even though, I don't think
Ukraine will ever be the same country.
Oh, no, it can't be.
It'll either be a partial country, they'll either split it up, because that's really what I think Russia's trying to do, is to get a buffer between Russia and the West.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't know.
But some of the photos and images that we've seen have just been horrendous. People in bags in the streets.
Now, did you hear, though, we got to be careful about which photos we share, because some of these things that have been pushed by some of the media platforms have been fake. And when I say fake, meaning it might have been from 10 years ago in a completely different place. But the media, as they always do, they want to be first to push out stuff. They are reporting that something is, a certain situation, and it's not quite that.
Would it be a really good idea, regardless which side of the fence you're on? I think there should be
a third political party.
Well, there should be a third political party.
Absolutely should be.
But what I think there should honestly be, and I don't know if this is really grey space, this is when they say, it's corrupt or whatever you want to put it, but I really think there should be some sort of law for people to go after these people that got these fake stories.
I agree. That put them out there.
Quite honestly, if it's a fake story,
you should be held accountable.
You should be held accountable.
And to that.
Yeah.
But if you did that, would that be a controlled state? Would that be a controlled country?
Well, we're controlled anyway. We just got off of 2 years of COVID. So as much as we want to deny it.
But would that be a reason for people to say we control more? Depends how it's managed, really, I guess.
Yeah. It all depends on how it's enforced. I really think the best way
to manage it is with a third party. Really.
We're on the same page with that for sure. There definitely should be. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes with Andrew Yang and his forward party. We'll see if that goes anywhere. Any hoodle.
Is a third party going to be with Andrew Yang?
Yeah, well, that's what he created. It's called the Forward Party. That's another one. But I don't know what'll come of it. We'll see what happens. So we know last
weekend we pushed the clocks forward for daylight savings time.
Now explain this to me, because I'm in the middle of a coma for 5 days. So
explain
to me what they decided to do.
So the set, which I've been on this for at least 10 years, I have been on this eliminating this switching of the clocks. I think it's stupid. But the Senate has already approved that next year we're done with that madness. That this November will be the last time that we flip the clocks or whatever the case is, it still has to go to for approval. But they have basically said that they made daylight savings time permanent starting in 2023. So that would end the twice changing of the clock throughout the year. They're calling it the Sunshine Protection Act. So I guess they want to protect the sunshine now. But they did the vote. Everyone agreed.
They don't call it something better.
Something. All right. The Sunshine Protection Act.
Isn't there enough sunshine in this world?
Oh man. So the House has to pass it, of course, and then it can go to for the president to sign. He gonna sign whatever they tell him to sign. He don't even know what day it is. But once it's through the House, then we'll know. That'll be good, man. So daylight savings time will be here to stay. Which I don't know. What do you think about that? It's darker in the mornings, but in the evenings.
Tell the farmers to get up earlier. I mean, why should we all?
Oh.
I mean, the only thing Carolyn's interested in is because she gets, an extra hour, or is it an extra hour, in the fall.
The daylight.
To sleep. That's all she's bothered about, is to sleep.
But once you get on, so for instance, like Arizona doesn't even recognize it. So when you go to, sometimes we're a couple hours ahead of Arizona, sometimes only one, or what, it kind of switches. So you got some states that they're just like, it's stupid. It doesn't matter. Some areas of the rest of the world, they don't recognize it. It's kind of like, man, most of the world, the country isn't farming anymore. So let's just keep it and move on down the line. That's my thought with it.
Let's just keep it.
Yeah, the daylight savings times. Just kind of keep the clocks where they are and not worry about it. Now, I think it should have been done a long time ago. That's just my thought with it.
I personally think it's stupid. I always thought it's stupid. I appreciate what the farmers do for us, but I'd appreciate it more if they'd get up an extra hour.
And I will say this. People are saying that kids shouldn't have to go to school in the dark because, you got to get up and it's darker in the morning times, but it gets light pretty quickly. It's not dark at 7:30 or whatever when school starts, but I say I shouldn't have to get off of work in the dark. How about that?
I don't think I should have to go to work at all at the time.
Well, you know what? That's just, 4-day work week. How about that? 3-day weekend. What do y'all think? Every day, let's pass that law.
I will. I'll sign that petition.
There's a lot of people. There's a lot of people that aren't going to work at the moment. I'm not mentioning a lot of people that aren't going to work.
I mean, physically.
Physically,
yeah.
Different business.
Absolutely.
They could do.
Could.
I'm talking about institutions like you're talking about.
Institutions that I'm talking about? What institutions?
Educational.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Because my wife's been turning up and other people haven't, and they could have done.
Oh. They're not even doing it from home?
Working remotely.
Because they're COVID afraid?
Yeah.
Well, that's about to be over in a month.
And from a coaching point of view, can't teach anybody.
Not effectively.
You
can't do it.
Because you miss that one-on-one basis.
Even though...
even business-wise.
Right.
All right. I don't believe that you can work effectively, as effectively as you can do. There's got to be a time where they've got to come in. Because there's a lot of things that you can find out about something.
I think there's some industries that do okay. But for instance, in what we do, right? We added a layer of remote in order to just kind of accommodate some of those people that were kind of afraid to come in doing the Zoom classes and those kinds of things. But what do we find with that though?
You still got some people that show up. So that lets you know some people still prefer to show up.
I've got people here that still prefer to do
Yeah, they prefer to show up
all day long.
because it's a more effective way to learn that type of stuff. So I'm with you on it. I think some things can deal with the remote, like hotel reservations, and that can be done remote. Plane reservations, that can be done remote. But they're doing doctor visits remote. Telehealth.
Do you know? Okay. I'm epileptic.
Yes.
Just had a really bad, horrible event. I had one on the 28th. I had six seizures. If it wasn't for my son, I don't know how my wife would have managed. Thank you to Jack. I had another one on the 3rd of November. I've never had so many in such a short time.
Sure.
Well, I'm going to a hospital, and it's a real sorry state of affairs. Go to your hospital where your wife wants you to go. You know the neurologist on first name terms.
Oh yeah,
Mr. Lee.
I agree.
Great doctor. You know, I would love him to have his own practice. Although my current neurologist is really good. Redmondson, love him to bits. You know. And then you call them up and they turn around to you. Okay, there's 2 types of doctors we've got. You've got one doctors if you want to see them in person. First available appointment is 6 months. Or you can do a tele appointment. Well, how long does that take? Oh, about 3 to 4 weeks.
For telehealth?
Yeah. 3 to 4 weeks. Yet if I'm going to see the doctor, my first appointment, I want to go in there and see the doctor. I want to smell him. I want to see what he likes. I want to see if he washes his hands when he goes to the toilet. There's a lot of things that I want to see when I go and see that doctor.
You hope so. You definitely hope so. Oh my goodness.
But yeah, all the doctors that they recommend, you're looking at a long time.
To wait. Yeah.
No. That's the thing that I understand it. It's an efficient system. But the part that really upsets me about that, if I had a really serious medical heart attack, clogged artery, something that was life-threatening. Epilepsy can be life-threatening. But the truth of the matter is, not as life-threatening as a heart attack.
Right. Right.
And that's what I really feel is, when you've got to wait that long for a doctor, it's sensible.
Yeah, I think this is maybe the level of severity as they list it.
And my wife, she's really had to go through it. Now I'm out of the hospital, and that's one of the reasons why I'm a little bit, she's starting to get feeling the pressure, work, everything else that she's
right.
got to deal with. It's easy for her. So it's tough.
It is tough.
It really is.
We got to make them feel extra special, man. Those that take care of us, they give us a little bit of extra care for those times.
So it's very, very difficult.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine. While we're talking about doctors, man, this doctor, they call him the King of Crowns in Wisconsin. Funny enough, he's a dentist.
Oh, that's what
Yeah, he's a dentist.
That's what I thought. I thought crown.
Yeah. So this guy was Dr. Scott Sharmoli was going in and charging people for unnecessary procedures and then cracking their teeth with a drill to justify the insurance claims. So he was deliberately causing damage to these people's teeth so he could, go ahead and do these procedures. That's why I said, funny enough, we're talking about your wife being a doctor and the dentist. Talking about, well, you mentioned about her taking care of you, and kind of mentioned about her going into work. But we're talking about dentistry.
This is pretty common.
That's so Everett says, he said, that's what I thought dentists did all the time. Yeah, it is.
Common.
Wait, this is a comment. So basically, no matter what I do, I have to go get my teeth fixed in a couple of weeks. You're saying that I'm basically screwed no matter what I do?
No, you just got to make sure you get the right dentist.
Yeah.
It's pretty common.
Because there's no way for you to really know.
It's pretty common. Pretty common.
That is unfortunate, man.
There is people that, this is going to sound terrible.
No, I believe it. Because this guy was terrible.
Let's just say I know of people who gone through different dental establishments, graduated, it's a good job that there's people out there who are looking for the signs of Medicare for all. It goes on quite a bit.
Well, this guy supposedly between 2015 and 2019 submitted more claims for crowns than any other dentist in the whole state of Wisconsin. And so, when the feds get involved, they kind of stack it on you. $4.2 million in bogus claims he submitted to insurance companies, and performed over 1,000 procedures for these crowns. So he just got a little greedy, I think. I don't know what dentists are supposed to make, but that's a lot of toothpaste.
Retrospect, the dentist that I had about 4 years ago had a pet zebra. So I'm pretty sure they make a pretty damn good lot of money.
Yeah, if he had a pet zebra, oh my goodness, or zebra as they called it over there across the pond, that is ridiculous to do that to people. But yeah, he would use a drill to break the patient's tooth and then instruct his assistant to take a photo or x-ray of the damaged mandible, which he could submit to the insurance company as having been taken before the procedure. That's ridiculous. Wow. That's but he was convicted. I don't know how much time he got.
I'm glad he was convicted.
I don't know how much time he's going to be getting, but he was convicted.
People that we've heard of in the industry that have been done for medical fraud.
It's not.
And it's how can I put this? When you go to the dentist, you ever felt like you're part of a conveyor belt?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Being a dentist is a harder job than what people think, because it literally is. It's a very pressured job. There's no way on this earth I would ever want to be a dentist. compared to seeing what I've seen from the other end,
Right.
because it literally is.
Get them in, get them out.
Yeah, well, yeah, but I mean, people are late as well. You know, do you think people are always on time? I would recommend to everybody that goes to a dentist to make sure you are never ever late, because all you're doing is putting pressure on the dentist.
Yeah.
And you know they've got a schedule. So say they schedule an hour,
They got to rush through you.
right?
Yeah.
And you're 15 minutes late.
Right.
And you're down to 45 minutes.
Not to mention the fact that they make you pay a late fee.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, man.
It's unfortunate.
But it's like with everything, you get honest, you get dishonest people in all types of businesses. You know, you get, I'm sorry to say, but you get dishonest real estate agents.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, you've seen it in your industry as well. That's why people need to call us.
Absolutely.
But the truth of the matter is, it's so difficult. Have you bought your Norwegian cruise line stock yet?
Not yet. I'm going to.
Oh, I beat you to it.
You already got it?
Yeah.
I'm actually trying to pay attention to your conversation and your words. So that's why I hadn't jumped in it. I'm going to wait till it dips down a little bit. I'll buy a few more shares. All right. So this...
I'm up 29 cents at the moment.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Oh, man. We'll wait till it drops a little bit and I'm going to get back in.
Well, I'm still going up.
I might need to jump in and get me some real fast. Put this podcast on hold for a second. Our next topic, man, is about, it's a controversial kind of topic, which I like those. Before we close out with the last one, which I think will be a good discussion. This one is this teacher in Kansas, Fort Riley, Kansas, called a student miss to get the student's attention at the end of class. After class, another classmate emailed the teacher to let her know, hey, this student uses he, him pronoun and a different first name, right? The next day, the teacher used the student's last name instead, avoiding the new name and the pronouns altogether. So the classmate got frustrated and left a note on the teacher's desk and accused her of being transphobic.
The teacher or the student?
What's that?
The teacher or the student?
The teacher. So they left a note saying that the teacher was transphobic. And the note said, hey, my classmate's own gender identity, the pronouns are he, they, by the way, blah, blah, blah. So the teacher got suspended. They exercised the suspension and escorted her from the campus, as I understand. And now she's suing, says she was uncomfortable referring to the student by those names because they were different than what was in the system for the district. This is kind of something that the student decided they wanted to be called, and she didn't have anything different on it, so she just kind of called by the last name. But she was suspended and issued a written reprimand for her refusal to comply with the district's policy on diversity and inclusion. Now, excuse me, she's suing now based on her First Amendment rights, saying that they were forcing her to use language and policies that breached her own personal and religious beliefs. What are your thoughts there, sir, on this situation?
Why make it so complicated?
For who?
For everybody.
So who concedes? The teacher or the student?
Why does anybody have to concede?
Well, there's no middle line, apparently, because she didn't call them by the wrong pronoun. She just used the last name. Hey, Williams, come on and do blah, 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 blah. But that wasn't enough, apparently. So how far did...
Well, actually, she was a Christian teacher.
Yeah, she was. How far does she have to bend?
How far does anybody have to bend? That's the problem.
Well, she at least she pivoted her language. She didn't call her miss anymore.
I think it's ridiculous.
It's totally ridiculous. Don't get me started.
I think it's pushing it just far too far. I mean, aren't we all here to get on together?
You know that, and that's the thing. And you have kids, Steve. Now I'm gonna ask you this question.
I do have kids.
You do. I think you do.
I do.
How many times have your kid told you they wanted to do something one day, and then the very next day, it's completely different? Or the next week, the next month. Has your child
He's never done that.
Yeah, right.
Because I don't want to be sued.
Yeah, right. Oh my goodness. That is an untrue statement. I know for sure because I know that it's happened. You want to make a ruckus about this whole name thing, and this girl may not even want to be called. I'm sorry, this individual may not even want to be called a he, him in 2 months. But you suspended this lady from her job based on this student because of your inclusion alert. Why isn't there a balance in, okay, you feel a certain way about something, I feel a certain way about something, let's just agree to disagree. I'll call you by your last name and we can move on down the line.
Amen to that.
Because money's involved.
It makes no sense though.
I agree. It doesn't make no sense.
It makes
But
zero
as
sense.
soon as you put money involved in it,
I don't get it. These kids are pushing the limits.
just buy an Android.
It's the case, sir. They're pushing the limits with this stuff, and a lot of folks are quote unquote falling for it, and it's ridiculous, man. This school teacher having to deal with that, man. She shouldn't. She should not have been suspended. In my opinion, like it is what it is. So, but she's standing on her religious beliefs and saying that, hey, my personal beliefs,
Which she's entitled to.
she is that God created human beings, male or female. That's what it is. Boom. That's why I just call you by your last name. That is what it is. So, it'll be interesting to see what happens.
I just find it hard to believe why does the criminal system
Have to be involved.
in it?
Yeah.
And the only thing I can believe is the criminal system's only involved because there's dollars involved.
Oh yeah. There's definitely dollars involved.
How much?
Definitely dollars involved.
She just wants somebody wants early retirement.
On a teacher's salary, that's pretty reasonable.
Yep.
Just the wrong way to do it.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. I'm gonna try to keep up with that one and kind of see what comes of it. I think it's ridiculous. I think it's utterly ridiculous. All right, man. Last thing on our list, this is your buddy, man. You talked about him earlier today. Brother Musk.
Who?
Elon Musk.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the question.
His stock's dropped big time.
Who is responsible if a Tesla crashes and kills someone on autopilot? Jesus? No. Don't bring my Lord and Savior into this.
Don't bring God into this.
It has nothing to do with it. Because there is a vehicular manslaughter charge filed in LA earlier this year that is the first felony prosecution in the United States for a fatal car crash involving a driver.
I'll tell you who's going to make that decision.
Who?
The Supreme Court.
Man,
that's
they're going to open up a
can of worms.
Yes.
That's what's going to happen. I really think that what's going to happen is it'll get to the point of the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court will say, who is responsible? Who do you think should be responsible?
Whoever's the owner of the car.
Me as well. You decide to use autopilot.
Yep.
I mean, it's no different from when you're actually driving anyway.
Right.
I agree. I think the owner should be responsible
Yep.
because the owner is the one who decides to use that particular car.
It's the same way as someone just typically rams someone over while driving in cruise. I mean,
Yeah, good point. Good point.
it's an excellent point. I mean, yeah, like you don't really call in vehicle malfunction. It did exactly what it was supposed to do.
So, just so you know, the case, this happened about 3 years ago. The car, it sped down the freeway. It ran a red light and crashed into another car. And the two people in that car are the ones that got killed. And it was a Tesla Model S, and it was on autopilot. And the guy that's in it, now he's only 27 years old, but
Here's the unfortunate thing. You know, you see videos of people on autopilot on a Tesla with their feet out the window,
oh yeah, and they're
smoking
eating
a cigarette,
or eating
a
cereal.
car.
Yeah, they do it all the time. So they're filing a case against them, and the victim, they're pursuing civil
Tesla
lawsuits
said
as
about
well.
it?
Well, Tesla is saying that there's a difference between autopilot and driverless. The autopilot function and a driverless car, comparing it kind of like pilots. You know, the planes fly themselves. The pilots get it up in the air, turn on the deal, and then, of course, that kind of deal. But they say that the onus falls on the owner and the safety of the driver in that car. But Tesla's kind of got their hands off.
Is that what you think?
I think it falls on the owner, whoever's in the car. I feel like
Because the owner's the one that makes the decision whether to put it onto autopilot
exactly.
or not.
If a plane crashes, the pilot is responsible for the souls on that plane. Why would it be any different? I don't know.
The pilot's in a plane crash, the pilot's the one responsible.
Well, the pilot is responsible for the souls on the plane. Yeah, as you follow. You know.
So what's the aircraft responsible? What's the aircraft company responsible for?
The airline or the aircraft
airline.
company? So the airline, of course, is the company that bought the plane. So, for instance, all those Boeings that were falling out of the sky, that was on Boeing. That was a flaw in Boeing. Even though the airline industry was using the planes, I think that was the 737 MAX.
Mm-hmm.
They were using that plane across the board, but they came back to. There's a documentary on Netflix, as a matter of fact. I can't remember the name of it, but it talks about how they kind of rushed through production and there were some issues in that plane.
Did you know they found MH370? You know, the one that went missing with the two pilots that went all over?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I seen a video the other day and apparently they found it.
Found it where?
Somewhere near Australia, I think.
What? Was it headed there?
Well, obviously.
I've flown that flight. That's a long flight. That's got to be on purpose.
You actually went sort of on that route?
To Australia. Yeah, I've been to Sydney. We flew from.
Yeah, but he went to
LA
Malaysia,
Sydney.
didn't he? He went to Malaysia.
Is that
The
where
one
it
that was
headed?
flying
Was
to
it
Malaysia.
Malaysia?
Yeah.
That's a bit off course.
Yeah, well, they reckon that there was the two pilots that flew it. They reckon that they was both suicidal. One had a marriage problem, and the other one wasn't doing too well.
Both of them? That's odd. Maybe they were
I
scoring.
watch it on YouTube.
They may have been scoring lovers. Who knows? But nevertheless, man, that's that Tesla situation. Kind of to your point, we'll see if the Supreme Court gets involved. Right now, it's in the California courts.
I think they will.
It's in the California courts, so we'll see what happens with it. Cool. That's all I got for today, man. That's all I got.
Interesting show, guys.
Definitely interesting.
Sorry I was late, guys.
It's all good. We will we'll beat you later.
You sign my paycheck. You're forgiven, Stephen.
Okay.
We
just
will
this once.
continue this again next week. For those of you that are on spring break, please be safe out there. Enjoy the time. I think next week, probably next few weeks, you'll be kind of dealing with spring break. So
My daughter's in New Orleans at the moment.
oh, check her out, having a good old time over there. Yeah, but we'll be in this same space at the Olympian Table next week, 10 o'clock. Join us. If you have any questions about joining the real estate industry or mortgage industry, our information is in the description below. Please like, share this podcast. We're trying to grow this platform, and we would love to hear your thoughts about it, any other topics you want us to talk about. So, till next week.
Till next week, guys.
We'll talk to you soon.
Have a good week. Stay happy.
Peace.
Be happy.
Take care.
You